There are millions of fantasy gamers who are struggling setting their rosters every week. Luckily, I'm here to help you guys out. Today, we are doing our top 40 running back rankings for week 5. And this is our early set of rankings, and then I'll do another set later in the week as an update as more news comes in. But I like to get a set out quickly in the week early, so you guys just have some information to work with so you can look at your lineups and make the right decisions going forward. And as the news comes in with injuries, player updates and stuff, we'll redo the rankings come Thursday or Friday. That way you're good for the weekend lineup setting. But before you dig in, if you need plays or trade options for running backs and wide receivers, pinned below are 2 videos from this week suggesting 5 running backs and 5 wide receivers that you can go off the waiver wire or by trade. I suggest you check those out. But here is the top 40 running back rankings. And all the time, every week, we go over the over-unders, and that is just part of the process. The reason why we do this is because we want to pinpoint the games that are supposed to be high volume, and we want to pinpoint the games are supposed to be low volume. Low volume games supposed to be low scoring. Lower scoring games means less guys putting up fantasy points because there's not as much scoring or ball movement going around. And then the opposite with the higher scoring games. More high flying, more explosive offenses equals more fantasy points for the players involved in those games. We got some games here that are lower scoring with projected totals here. San Francisco and Carolina wins the low score award this week with a 39 over under. And Vegas and Kansas City Raiders Chiefs 51 over under. The only one in the 50s this week. As you notice throughout the year, these will start getting tighter and tighter as Vegas gets more numbers, more stats, more data to work with, like we all do. Also, these are an average from oddshark.com, which takes all different books, averages the numbers together, and these numbers could change, but I really just want to pinpoint which games are going to be high scoring and which games are going to be low scoring. So if a game goes from a 48 over under to a 49, doesn't matter much to me. I just want to see where they're projected to be out in the totals. If you want, this could help you out setting up lineups. You may want to take a screenshot of this or just take a picture or whatever. That way, when you're looking at your wide receivers and you want to see which one you want to put in your lineup, you may want to check the over-under. That way, if one's in a better matchup than the other, the game's supposed to be more scoring involved and stuff like that, and the other wide receivers in like a over-under with like a 41, 42-ish, then you may want to start the other one that's in a better matchup, a higher implied point total, or just go from there. Also, there are some games here that you may want to look at that could run good. So if it's got a 44 over under and say it's Chicago, Minnesota, we know Minnesota wants to push the ball through the air. We know Chicago's a slower team, but we feel like this one could break for some reason. Then you may want to project them a little higher than that, but that's off your gut, off your feeling. That's why we use these over-unders, though. We use them as a gauge because they're usually kind of close to being right, but there are some that don't hit. So you want to keep that in mind, and you kind of want to guess the ones that don't hit, and it's kind of fun to do. But we use that as part of the process for our rankings and setting lineups. Going forward here is our top 10 running backs. Saquon Barkley, #1 overall, usage in the passing game, and just plenty of workload, explosive. One of the last Mohicans who's really driving the numbers too. Alright matchup, not the greatest, but I don't think it really matters due to the workload, his pass catching ability, and his workload in the passing game. Derrick Henry against Washington, he's good for a big run here and there, volume, upside, and all that stuff. Derrick Henry numbers, I don't love the matchup either, but it is what it is, though. We're getting later in the season, and those top running backs, they don't need to be in good matchups. You're just going to have less and less of those top running backs. Austin Eckler against Cleveland. High over-under here for a game at Cleveland. I look for the Chargers to push the ball a little bit. I could see Eckler getting some work in the passing game. I think his PPR scoring will elevate his production. Nick Chubb, I missed him in the rankings last week. Let me know who I missed this week. A lot of times this early set, I'll miss a guy. My spreadsheets mess up and stuff because I'm just throwing stuff from other spreadsheets and stuff together. Nick Chubb made it. Nick Chubb came on board. I had him as a top 10 guy. He didn't even make the spreadsheet on the last video, but I got him here, top 4. Good matchup here for him, and I look for him to do some things. Dalvin Cook, a lot of workload, so you're going to get top 5. Same thing with Joe Mixon. I'm a little bit higher on him than consensus due to his work in the passing game, due to the overall volume, high over-under against Baltimore, Sunday night game. Leonard Fournette, I'm about even with consensus when I look at other people's ranks. Good over-under here. Atlanta game's kind of tricky. Could see something happen. I'm low on Christian McCaffrey this week. That Niners matchup's scary. The over-under scary. I just don't see good things. But it could be because he gets volume and he has the athleticism to turn it on. And I'm high on James Robinson because I'm always high on James Robinson. Houston matchup. That is always crazy when Houston's involved. The 44 over-under, we could see that go higher than that. We could see that hit the over just because this is a very fun matchup right here. I want to watch this game. I actually want to watch this one. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's in the top 10. First time in the top 10 all year. I can't sleep on him. High over-under. This should be the time for him to go off. The touch count has been a controversial topic among many fantasy football analysts out there. Like what I said, though, it's Patrick Mahomes go Burr, and he could go Burr with Patrick Mahomes again. He did last week. That's what we drafted him at the 101. What you guys drafted him at the 101 rookie drafts for. I didn't. But Patrick Mahomes go Burr, 10 rank this week. 11 to 20 here for running back rankings. I'm high on Miles Sanders. And I'm high on him kind of every week. I'm always a little bit above consensus, but I feel like I was lower compared to his production last week. And I wish I ranked him higher, so I'm shooting my shot here. A decent matchup against Arizona. We should see some sparks here. 49 over under. Alvin Kamara didn't suit up last week. So obviously, if he's not suiting up, just yank him out. If he's suiting up, if he's on, he looks healthy, all reports are good, you're going to put him up here around the 12-ish range. Gets volume in the passing game. There's checkdowns. Those are huge for him. Josh Jacobs had a big game. Big matchup. Might be low on him, but honestly, it's tough sledding when you got the studs up top there. Kind of pushes people down. J.K. Dobbins against Cincy. I'm higher on J.K. Dobbins than consensus a little bit when I look at other people's ranks because I don't know why. I think the explosiveness, I think the volume's going to be there. I think he's going to really start getting the ball rolling, and I'm kind of betting on that. A good over-under here, too. Aaron Jones against the Giants. The Giants are in very slow game scripts. Green Bay's kind of slow. 41 over-under. I'm not in love with it. I like Aaron Jones as a player, though, so I can't push him down too much. Dameon Pierce keeps sneaking up higher and higher and higher in the ranks, and I am a shade higher on him than consensus. Then some award-winning rankers, so I might be off here. But I don't want to sleep on him either. And I'm very interested in this Houston-Jacksonville matchup. 44 over-under here, 44.5 over-under here. And he's getting touches. He can do stuff with his touches. And I feel like we're going to keep slowly moving him up throughout the season. Breece Hall, I'm higher on him than consensus. Pass-catching ability. Check down boy over here. Catching balls, getting us those PPR points. Miami's, though, they do not have to win this week. We should expect a slow game here. I don't even know if they'll break 40 points total. That's the thing. Or, considering we got Zach Wilson and Teddy B, it may just completely break and it goes nuclear. I don't see that. I would bet more on the under here, but don't take betting information from me whatsoever. But I do predict a slower game script. However, Breece Hall, all he needs is a few targets, maybe 5-ish, and he's fine. Najee Harris is low. And I might be too low, but I'm a shade higher than some other places that have him ranked. That's the thing. But the touches, the Pittsburgh offense, a decent matchup here against Buffalo when it comes from a scoring perspective. However, it may not be there production-wise. We really need him to get into the end zone, and we need him to get some checkdowns. I feel like I'm going to move him up when I redo my rankings later. Maybe up a shade or whatever. So note him at 18, but you're probably going to see me come Friday or Thursday when I do the update, him moving up a bit. When I talk this out, my brain starts moving around on some of these players. This is kind of helps me out a bit doing this video. Just to let you know when it comes to valuing these guys. And you just say it and you get the feel. Khalil Herbert, Chicago, Minnesota. You just hope that he breaks a few off, really. That's what you're really hoping. Jamal Williams. The thing is, it's against New England. It's going to be a tight game script. If he's not going to hit, it's probably going to be this game. Because it's New England. It's on the road. They're going to slow things down. New England's been hurting at quarterback. This is going to be an ugly game, but Detroit can get it ugly on their end too. So I could see Williams being the guy that really catapults himself up, but I can also see him being a bust. The big range of outcomes this week. Next 10, 21 through 30. So we're going to go through a lot quicker here because there's just a lot of ambiguity here now. Jeff Wilson, Carolina, slow game. Damian Harris, Detroit, iffy slow game. Devin Singletary, interesting matchup. He's not always the guy. He's not always going burr, but you never know when he's going to go off. He's a guy that you put in your flex, you close your eyes, and you see what happens. Or you put him in as your RB2, especially when he's 0 RB, or he's your RB1 if you want 0 RB. James Conner, knick-knack injuries. You got to watch him a little bit. Interesting matchup. High over-under, but you still want to be conservative. Same with Melvin Gordon, because of the touch distribution between him and Mike Boone, and they signed Latavius Murray. Lower scoring total here as an implied point total with 43.5 over-under. Kind of just saying safe sledding. At 25, though, he's ranked as almost a low-end RB2, high-end flex running back. I would start wide receivers over him, though. Ramondre Stevenson. I have him at 26, but if you've been watching this channel, you know him and Harris, I kind of just say, hey, just throw one in. I kind of, in my head, got them ranked in the same spot, so these guys will be in the same tier when I do my tier video. A.J. Dillon. The thing about him is he's always good for a big gain. He's always good for some rushing touchdowns. He catches the ball in the backfield. This is going to be a weird game script. They could hit the over here. This could be the ugly game that goes over. 41.5. Green Bay is slower, but they know how to push the ball a little bit. And the Giants, they're slower, but they also can make it ugly in the positive way for us. It's going to be a weird one. It's either going to be really low scoring or they're going to smash the over, which means I'm saying they're going to do the over or the under, so that doesn't really make sense. Ezekiel Elliott against the Rams, those days of him just having those big moments are going away. Against the Rams, I don't love the matchup. Kareem Hunt against the Chargers. I might have him undervalued here, but it's hard to pump him up. But I imagine I'm going to slide him up a little bit come the next set of rankings I do. I love the matchup from a point total perspective. And sometimes it's not a Nick Chubb game. Sometimes it's a Kareem Hunt game. We've had that before this season. It could be that. And I would gamble on that if I had to put him in as my RB2 or flex. If I had to do it. I'm not ashamed of that. Nyheim Hines. Jonathan Taylor, more than likely out. I'm not 100% certain, or I'm not. We could have news that have rolled out last few hours or something. If that's come by, drop that in the comments so we all know. Help out the community here at the channel. But Nyheim Hines catching the ball in the backfield. I think he's got, 15 targets the last 3 games or something like that. Again, Thursday night game. Those are usually ugly, so I don't really want to bet on those. But you know what? We're getting into the part of the season where you have to start some of these guys. I have him ranked as an RB3. RB3 past the top 24-ish. So you're really starting him as a flex-ish if you have to start him. Or as an RB2 if you're really hurting. Next, and our last 10, they're 31 through 40 to round this out. Tony Gibson, Tennessee. Kind of want him bumped up a little bit, but I feel like this is a nightmare matchup. Rashad Penny, I'm kind of low on him as well. He blew up. I might be moving him up next week. I might be moving up on this next set of rankings. Tyler Algier, playing conservative. The Tampa Bay matchup, isn't the greatest, but he could make it happen. Cam Akers. I'm surprised he even made the list, but once you get so far, you kind of got to throw some guys in. Travis Etienne, man, has some promise, but needs to put it together. Raheem Mostert is the man of the hour of the waiver wire. Everybody's been talking him up on all the articles, all the YouTube channels. Got him at RB36 when it's all said and done. So he's like a flex guy, but a patch-up running back if you need him. Tony Pollard. Just this Rams matchup, man. Just not that sexy for the running backs here in Dallas. J.D. McKissick, maybe some checkdowns here. Chase Edmonds, maybe the touch distribution evens out more. Darrell Henderson should be getting more load than he is getting. I like for him to get more carries, but that's not my call. But him and Akers, you can flip and flop him if you want. But that is the top 40 running back rankings right now. Again, I'm throwing these spreadsheets around, so let me know if I missed a player. My bad if I did. I've done that here in the last few weeks, and I'm sorry about that. But I'll have it fixed when I do the update come Thursday or Friday. So you want to be on the lookout for that. Also, if you need help with waiver wire decisions or trade decisions, I have 2 videos linked in the comment section pinned below. Check those out. That'll help you out as well. And make sure you hit that subscribe button because I'll have the wide receiver rankings out soon. That should be out tomorrow or so. And then I'll have these rankings updated as tiers come Thursday and Friday, along with other videos. I'm dropping 3 or 4 a day. But I want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.